This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
When you become known as an associate of the Beatles, you're standing under a large shadow. But here's a group with so much talent and originality, they've established their own identity. They've come into their own as one of the world's top groups today. Ladies and gentlemen, Badfinger.
The story of Badfinger, with its mix of talent, tragedy and unexpected setbacks, stands as one of the most poignant tales in rock and roll. I'm Andrew from Parlogram, and in this video I'll explore what is generally acknowledged to be their finest album, Straight Up. By the time Straight Up was released in December 1971, Badfinger was already established as one of Apple's most promising acts. Originally formed in the mid-1960s as the Ivies, this highly talented half-English, half-Welsh band had already enjoyed chart success with Paul McCartney's catchy Come and Get It. However, it was evident that the band had so much more to offer than simply being Beatles protégés, and Badfinger's second album, No Dice, released in November 1971, proved that point. It contains some classic tracks, most notably the hit single No Matter What, and the now standard Without You. Its success put the group at a crossroads. Their next album needed to solidify their identity and show that they were more than just a footnote in the Beatles' legacy, a task that was easier said than done. In January 1971, the group assembled at Abbey Road with Beatles engineer Geoff Emerick, who produced the bulk of No Dice, to begin the recording of their new album. By March, 12 tracks had been recorded, but the final sessions had been completed in a rush as they were due to depart for a tour of North America. The head of Apple's US operation, Alan Steckler, was at the time making all the label's major decisions, and after listening to the Emerick-produced tape, he decided changes would have to be made. Knowing that George Harrison rated the group, Steckler then asked him to work with them on revising the album, with the goal of giving it a sound similar to that of the Beatles' Abbey Road album. The original track listing that emerged from those Geoff Emerick sessions was significantly different from the released version. In addition to a changed track order, it was missing several songs that would later appear on the actual album, including the two major hits, Baby Blue and Day After Day. Joey Molland remembered George Harrison saying that they sounded too much like a beat group on the Emerick sessions, and told them they could do better. So on May 30th, 1971, George began reworking 4 songs. 2 compositions by Joey, Suitcase and I'd Die Babe, and 2 by Pete Ham, Name of the Game and Day After Day, a song George was so impressed with he asked to play on. However, this golden collaboration was short-lived because George had to leave to focus on his Bangladesh project, cruelly leaving the group without its biggest fan and a producer. Todd Rundgren was a big deal in the US. He left his psychedelic group The Nazz for a solo career, and by mid-1971 had scored his first solo hit, We Gotta Get You a Woman, and released his first solo album. Rundgren was brought in to take over where George had left off. He streamlined the sound and brought a pop-orientated radio-friendly focus to the recording, which would be critical to the sound and success of Straight Up. Joey, who'd gotten along very well with George, found the sessions with Rundgren very difficult and called him an overbearing egomaniac. The album opens up with Pete Ham's Take It All, a track that describes one of the biggest moments in his career, doubling George Harrison on acoustic guitar for Here Comes the Sun at the concert for Bangladesh on August 1st, 1971. The next track, Baby Blue, was another top-drawer Pete Ham song. His inspiration for it was a woman named Dixie Armstrong, who had met and dated during Badfinger's last US tour. Baby Blue, backed with another album track, Flying, was released as a single in the US on March 6, 1972, and became one of the most successful singles, reaching the top 10 on the Cashbox chart. It was a hit in many other countries around the world as well, but although it was scheduled in the UK as Apple 42, it was never released. The song regained popularity in late 2013, when it was featured in the closing scene of the final episode of Breaking Bad, earning the group some much-deserved respect from a new generation. If you want to establish or enhance your business's online presence, creating a website with this video sponsor Squarespace is the solution, and it's simpler than you think. Squarespace's design intelligence is the culmination of decades of expertise in website design. This cutting-edge technology can help you build a beautiful, professional-looking website in no time. Simply select one of their award-winning templates and follow the step-by-step guide. A website built with Squarespace gives you all the tools you need for success, including email marketing campaigns to engage your subscribers, drive sales, and boost site traffic. So, whether you own a store, create video courses, or just need a stylish blog, Squarespace has all the solutions. Find out how Squarespace can work for you by heading on over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/parlogram to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Money was Tom Evans' most significant contribution to the album, and another song which addressed the Bangladesh concert experience, while also reflecting on the economic gloom Britain was facing at that time. That mood is echoed in the following track, Flying. Co-written with Joey, it contrasts his positive reflections on the American tour with Evans's cynicism and general unhappiness. According to Joey, George loved his song I'd Die Babe, and the two worked closely together on it, which Joey described as a lot of fun. During the writing, Joey became stuck after the opening line, which was, "You give me loving like crazy." George then suggested he say, "You make my daisy grow high," which became the song's second line.
You give me loving like crazy. You make my daisy grow high.
Not only did George contribute lyrics for the song, he also played guitar on the track. Side 1's final track, Name of the Game, was originally planned as the lead single from the album. Originally recorded at the Geoff Emerick sessions, it was a song everyone liked, including George. However, he thought it needed something extra, so he arranged 2 remixes. One by keyboardist Al Kooper, and one he did himself. Unfortunately, neither mix was considered satisfactory, and with the other Emerick sessions, they fell by the wayside. With its complex chord changes and emotional vocals, many have called it the perfect Badfinger song. It's indeed one of the highlights of the album and was one of Joey's favourites.
Suitcase, suitcase, follow me round.
Written about his experiences on the road, Joey's song Suitcase features an arrangement written by George and was once considered for a single release. Knowing that radio stations wouldn't play a song with Pusha in the lyrics, George told Joey to change the word, which he did, to Butcher. In contrast to George's reworked, more Beatle-esque version that emerged on the album, Joey preferred the original version recorded with Geoff Emerick, which he said sounded more like the real Badfinger. Its light-hearted lyrics, dealing with the themes of travel and escapism, are a reminder that while Badfinger was capable of deep emotional expression, they could also cut loose and have fun when they wanted to.
Sweet Tuesday morning, came on your smile.
Sweet Tuesday Morning is a gorgeous acoustic number Joey wrote for his wife, Kathy. It was a song he admitted to being very nervous about singing initially, but everyone in the band loved it. It was also chosen as the B-side to the album's next track, and one of the group's best-known and most successful singles.
I remember finding out about you.
Written by Pete Ham, Day After Day, with its chiming slide guitar and sweeping harmonies, is a masterclass in blending sorrow and beauty. And Ham's heartfelt vocals capture perfectly the feeling of yearning that permeates the song. Rundgren's production here, especially his reworking of the drum sound, is particularly effective, and the addition of Leon Russell on piano gives the track a polished, radio-friendly sound without losing its emotional weight. Charting at number 4 in the US and number 10 in the UK, Day After Day remains one of the most enduring hits and encapsulates the bittersweet nature of much of Badfinger's music. Sometimes is a terrific rocker and the final Joey Molland penned track on this amazing album. Pete Ham's songwriting shines once again in Perfection, a song that blends a catchy melody with a socially conscious message. Lyrically, the song addresses themes of personal growth and the elusive nature of perfection. Ham urges listeners to embrace their imperfections and focus on what truly matters in life, a message that resonates even more deeply considering the later tragedies that would befall the band. The track has a relatively simple arrangement, featuring acoustic guitar and harmonies, reminiscent of the folk rock style of artists like Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. When asked about the inspiration for the song, Pete Ham said that people get too obsessed with ideals, the perfect world, the perfect human being, and there's no such thing. So all the song says is, realize our imperfections, talk about them, and try to do something about it. It's Over, the final track on this album, was written by Tom Evans and was his only real solo vocal on the album. The song reflects the pain of being on the road and longing to return home, and serves as a farewell to the loyal fans who'd supported them during their last US tour. Straight Up was released in December 1971 in the US and February 1972 in the UK. Critics praised it for its strong songwriting, polished production, and tight band performances. However, like many albums Apple released at that time, it didn't receive the full promotional support necessary to achieve the commercial success it deserved. The album then fell victim to the disintegration of Apple in the mid-70s and remained unavailable until 1993, when it was, along with many other classic Apple albums, re-released in expanded format. However, apart from a DCC audiophile release in 1995 and a CD remaster in 2010 as part of this terrific Apple CD box set, it's been criminally unavailable officially on vinyl for over 30 years. So I think it's high time Apple showed them some respect and put it out again. How about a Miles Showell half-speed master perhaps? The recent sad passing of Joey Molland, the last surviving member of Badfinger's classic lineup, marks the end of a chapter in rock history. But their music lives on. But what do you think about this album, and what does it mean to you? Do let me and everyone else know in the comments. And also, tell me if you'd like me to cover the other albums in their catalogue. I'll be back next week with something a little bit different. But that's all for this one, so I'll say bye for now, and thanks for watching.